Hi, this is Liz and welcome to my podcast, Spiritually Speaking with Liz. So today's very exciting. We're on an outside broadcast in the lovely home of Allanah Bourne-Arton. So I've known Allanah a few years now through the shop, and Allanah is a spiritual life coach, and the reason why I've got her here today is to talk about her soul plan readings. But first of all, Allanah, welcome.
Thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you for joining me. So first of all, would you tell me what a spiritual life coach is and your soul transformation therapies? What does that mean?
I certainly will. Yes. So spiritual life coaching differs from regular life coaching in that somebody would come to see a spiritual life coach if they saw the world through their spiritual eye, as it were. So when we do spiritual life coaching, we are helping people to unblock and unpick issues that they have in their lives and trying to get them some direction and setting goals, etc. But we talk a lot about their soul's journey in this lifetime. So we use that kind of language quite a lot. And somebody would come to a spiritual life coach because they think that way. It resonates with them. And they're as interested in their soul journey as they are their human journey. It presupposes an understanding and an openness to reincarnation and our various lifetimes that we have on this earth. But it does become very relevant to this lifetime throughout the process, but it's just taking an approach to life from a slightly different perspective. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that was a lot more than I was expecting, to be honest. Very well explained. So tell me, first of all, I'd like to know about your previous life, as it were. Who were you before you got into this, and what led you into this? So whatever way you want to bring that across.
Okay, so I've had various different incarnations in this one incarnation, so lots of different roles in life. But I suppose the main influencing factor in why I've become a spiritual life coach is that regardless of what I've been doing and what paths my life has taken me down this time round, I have been extremely preoccupied with getting an understanding of what it is to be human from a spiritual perspective. It's been an intrigue of mine for as long as I can remember, and my entire adult life has been a real quest to understand that. So absorbing spiritual teachings, experimenting with different spiritual organizations and groups, gurus and spiritual leaders, and just asking lots of questions, always asking questions and always wanting to find meaning and purpose. And there is always meaning and purpose to be found. I'm absolutely sure of that. So my whole adult life was spent absorbing all this information, and I got to a point of realizing that it couldn't possibly be just for my own personal interest, which was lovely. I mean, if it had been, that's fine. But I really felt there was another reason why I had this passion. And now that I do what I do, I realize that whenever you have a passion, there is a reason for it, and there's a greater reason beyond yourself. So I decided I needed to put some framework and some shape to it, and decided to go and do a spiritual life coaching course. And actually I hadn't really anticipated becoming a spiritual life coach. I just wanted some kind of framework to bring together all the information that I had gathered, and maybe sort of to validate it and to investigate and query it further. Anyway, I then came across, I'd also had that validated by various sort of psychics that I'd come across. Not that I had been asking the question, but a lot of people had said, you need to be doing this sort of work. I then went and found a beautiful course through the Holistic Healing College in London called Spiritual Life Coaching. And it had various modules, most of which I recognised by name, thought they all made sense. I anticipated many of these things within it. But actually, the course was full of surprises. The first module was soul plan readings. I had absolutely no idea what that was. No idea.
I'd never heard of it before.
No, nor I. And not many people have. Actually, soul plans... soul plan readings have only been around for about 30 years, so it is a relatively new practice. So, first module, open mind, let's see what this is all about. And it just completely blew me away. And we then went on and subsequently studied other modules. So I now have this incredible toolkit of helping people to understand their life, their purpose, why stuff happens, and what they can do to overcome the challenges. Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I didn't realise that. I thought it was a separate course that you'd done. I didn't realise it was
part of the spiritual life coaching, first module. Yeah. So soul plan readings are similar in many ways to numerology, for example. So numerologists will use your date and time of birth. They'll use the numbers that influence this lifetime. Whereas the soul plan reading will use the spelling of your name. And the understanding is that the order of the letters in your name are very influential in the tapestry of the life that you have here. And I mean, there's much bigger concept behind all of that, but it presupposes an understanding and an acceptance that each time your soul chooses to reincarnate, which it does, each time it chooses to reincarnate, it's doing so in order to learn and grow. And because human nature is such that we don't really learn by being told, we learn through having experiences. That's what really embeds the learning within us and really helps us to grow. So we need certain challenges and certain experiences in order to grow. And often those experiences are challenging. But we don't come down here each incarnation with just these challenges. We also come in with incredible talents and gifts. And human nature is such that we tend to be very aware, very readily aware of our challenges and our imperfections. We are less ready to see, accept and celebrate our talents and our gifts. And that's something that a soul plan reading will really do. It'll show you, yes, you've had these kind of challenges and this is why, and this is what the learning is through these challenges. But you've been given these gifts and talents to help you overcome those challenges in order to reach your goals. And so that's what we do in a soul plan reading. And it invariably really resonates with people, so it's very rewarding.
Well, I can tell you that with mine, because you told me about it when you first did it. How long ago was it? 3 years?
3 years ago.
So you told me about it 3 years ago, and it piqued my interest, and we were going to chat about it, and then we didn't, and then we just chatted about other things. And it wasn't till the beginning of this year, and I just got really strongly.
The time was right for you. Yeah,
that I need to. And then having that, a lot of people, when I was telling people about having it before I'd had it, they were very much thinking it was like a psychic reading.
Right, yeah.
You know, that type. And after I'd had it, you know what, but for me, it was exactly the right timing. Yeah. As everything always is. But it was so affirming to me for my life this time, what I've gone through. And then you sitting there and telling me with these numbers in this star shape,
yes,
and these numbers, and I can't remember the name of them, apologies, but there'd be like a positive aspect and then the underneath aspect.
So the worldly challenges and the worldly talents.
That's it. And it was just really me, really affirming, but also I felt like it was a G on, like, you know, like a cheer on. Come on, you've got this, you can do it, and you can move forward. And this is one of the reasons of the podcast. I know. Not that you said do a podcast.
No, I know.
It was that.
Step into your comfort zone, because actually you were in it. I mean, I remember your soul plan very well. And I don't actually remember all soul plans very well, because I do many, but I do remember yours particularly well because we've now become friends and it was so interesting. But what was so exciting for me as I was preparing it, I could completely see you in it. And you were at that point, I think it's fair to say, perhaps questioning what you're doing. Is it enough? Should it be more? And absolutely not. You're absolutely doing what you're meant to be doing, but growing within that. You know, it's just nice to know, am I on the right path? Yes, you absolutely are on the right path. Or perhaps very often I'm saying to people, maybe not. Let's look at this. How does it feel? But you tend to know whether you are or you aren't because you're in flow or you're not.
Yeah, I get that. I think I felt from being a therapist since the 90s, working hands-on with people, and then being a yoga teacher. And then when we came back to the UK, all of that seemed to stop because I got frozen shoulders, and then my hands, I haven't got the same power in my hands anymore.
So interesting, isn't it?
And it's quite painful. So then the shop came, and I love the shop. We're 5.5 years in, and every morning, I know it's crazy, but I go in and I always say good morning. Yeah. And when I leave, I always say good night, Karma, I love you.
Oh, perfect. No wonder the energy in that place embraces us all as we walk through the door.
But I did think, am I doing enough? Am I doing what I'm meant to be here for? Because I wasn't seeing people on that one-to-one.
Which you were used to historically.
Yes, in those booked set appointments. But I know people will come in and they don't know why they've come in, but they get drawn in and things come through for them, or we chat and they leave feeling lighter or better or whatever. So it just reaffirmed for me that, yes,
you were in the right place.
Yeah. You're in the right place.
I would just like to take this opportunity to say to your podcast listeners how important karma is to me and to our community. So, it's a very special haven in an otherwise rather typical Yorkshire market town. And what was so lovely when I did your soul plan is everything I felt about karma was just echoing out of that page, because you think you're just standing in the shop selling beautiful things. I know you're doing more than that, because you have very meaningful conversations with people and you hold people very well, you hold space for people very well. But what came through when we were speaking to your spirit guides at the end of the soul plan reading was you just are this incredible ball of light within the community. So everything you're doing in there permeates out as people leave your shop again. So while you might not feel like you're sort of actively doing very much in that shop, and you're not moving around as much perhaps as your soul might like to, you're doing a huge amount of work. And it's not just that person benefits and they then take the love and the light elsewhere. It's the energy that you're putting out there. That energy permeates far and wide, as you know. And it's the same with all of those people who come in. So you put it into them and they take it off, but all that energy is going out there. It's a loving, altruistic, giving energy, and it just contributes to the rising vibration of this world. So nobody is doing anything too small by just being in their community. We can just, in fact, if we just sit on our sofas and meditate love out into the world, that in itself is a huge thing to do.
Yeah, it is so true. People, like with the dreadful thing that's happening in the Ukraine, people, you get the amazing people that they're just out there, they've gone, haven't they? They've just packed up, they've gone, what can I do? How can I help?
The actives.
And you sit back here and think, oh my God, should I be doing something? But exactly that, if we just sit and send out love, send out healing, send out encouragement, with those poor people, what they're going through. And
so powerful.
Very much. And I think as well, if you create that in your home, in your community, it ripples out, like what you're saying about karma. It does ripple out, doesn't it? It spreads. Yeah. So it touches somebody else who thinks, okay, I'll do that, and then it touches, and it just goes on.
Absolutely,
and on.
Absolutely. We've been lucky enough through the pandemic. Actually, it's been the real silver lining of the pandemic is this emergence of new communities of like-minded souls who really feel deeply and want to make a difference in the world. And we've all kind of gravitated together. So we all do, group meditations and collective intentions for the world and for people in the world. And in lots of lovely woo-woo ways, we've had lots of validation about the power of those groups. So, just getting together in your local communities, because obviously our world is made up of little communities. The more we can do within our own little community will spread out further and further and further. So it's acting locally while thinking globally.
Absolutely.
Is the way to be, really.
As a quick plug, your 6:00 Wednesday evening?
Yes, 6:00. Yeah, every Wednesday night we do a collective intention for the world. So it's raising the vibration of the world, working with light workers from this world and beyond. And so we do it via Zoom or at Tanfield House for anybody who's local. If we're meeting at Tanfield House, we meet at 6. I switch on Zoom at 6:15 and we have a little chat, and we then go into our collective intention at past, and we're usually finished by 7:00. But it's just a weekly sort of get-together connection of like minds, and the energy is so powerful. And we literally meditate together for 10 minutes. It's chatting either side of that, but those 10 minutes are so strong. The visions that people have had, the experiences they've had. And also, it's okay to know that when you're doing something like that, it is an act of service. We don't have to be entirely selfless all the time. Our intention is for the world. But it's great to know, actually, and I really want people to understand this, that when you get involved in an act of service like that, you will have mutual benefits because of the cyclical nature of the universe. It's give and receive and give and receive. So we don't have to worry so much about ourselves and our needs while also wanting to help the world. If you are helping other people and you're giving of yourself, you will receive. That is just how it works.
It is, yeah. It's so true. And it's that I don't make it, but I will sit at 6:30 at home. And it is it is just a powerful time.
And I always say to people, there's no obligation. It's drop in. Sometimes we have 4 or 5 people. Sometimes we have 20. Sometimes we have more. It doesn't really matter. It's where 2 or more come together with an intention for good. And we sort of tune in with all our other group, and we know that they're there and they're egging us on. So it's really powerful.
Yeah,
had some nice experiences.
It is powerful and it's important. And I think, like you say, through the pandemic, more and more people. It was a real dark night of the soul for a lot of people, wasn't it? A lot of people questioned themselves. A lot of people made big changes in their lives, and I think that these little emergences. I can't speak emergences.
That's the one.
Of groups is what now is starting to grow. Isn't it?
Exciting.
Starting to grow.
So
and
exciting.
It gave people that chance, and I'm not saying that the pandemic was a good thing. It was not. I'm just saying the silver lining.
Silver lining
is that it gave people breathing space. Once we sort of, well, I'm speaking personally. That initial 2 weeks for me was panic. I had started with anxiety. That's why I did the recording of an anxiety meditation, because that's what brought me back. So I thought, I can't be the only person that's feeling this.
Well done.
Was just this fear.
Is that on your YouTube channel? Really? I must look at that.
It was just this fear of the unknown. It really was, wasn't it? And this. I don't know.
It was uncharted territory, wasn't it?
Very much so. And I don't know about it. I'm not a news watcher, but at 5 o'clock every night, I was sat
religiously.
Yeah, for 2 weeks, and then I just said to Kev, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I've got to step out of it, and that didn't mean stepping out of the seriousness of what happened. That meant for preservation for me.
Well, we need to be as mindful of our mental health as we do our physical health, and I know mental health is a big thing these days, and we are all much more aware of it. But the way that we can help ourselves is to be really conscious of what we're putting into our minds in the same way that we're conscious about what we're putting into our bodies. And we have a choice. So either we can read the newspapers and listen to the news and live in a place of fear permanently, because that, let's face it, is what comes off that screen and out of those pages. Or we can choose, do we listen to mindful, positive podcasts and beautiful music? And guess what? When you choose the latter, your vibration rises. And suddenly you feel at peace. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the chaos of the world around you. If you can reach that place of stillness within you through beautiful music, inspiring podcasts, you're not just benefiting yourself. Again, you're giving out a more positive energy. So if we all allow ourselves to be stuck in that place of fear, what are we producing? Fear. Yeah. And it's that very negative energy. And there is light and shade in this world. I'm not saying we deny all the darkness at all. I'm not saying we deny even our own dark sides. We all have light and shade within us. There is a perfect balancing system in this world. It requires dark and light. But it's a question of how we manage ourselves through the darkness in order to find the light again. And you always will, but you have to be quite disciplined about, what am I listening to? What am I eating? What am I looking at?
It's so true.
Who am I surrounding myself with? Does this person lift me up, or do they bring me down? Is this relationship healthy, or is it not healthy? These are all the things that, and like you say, the pandemic gave us that opportunity just to be still and reflect. And a lot of life reviews were going on. And in fact, funnily enough, as I was qualifying as a spiritual life coach, I was thinking, does the world really need any more life coaches? Because through the pandemic, everybody seems to be qualifying as a life coach. But, there's never enough help in the world,
There isn't, and you've got to remember, you are the sum of your experiences.
Yes, of course. So everybody brings something different.
Yes, so whatever anybody has gone through, that is their MO.
Of course.
That is how they will then come across to other people. And your vibe attracts your tribe. They will attract the people.
It does, doesn't it?
Who you can relate to, and I think that's the important thing. That's why I wanted to get you on and other people on to chat, because I love hearing about people's stories, how people got to doing what they're doing. And we've all had our trials and tribulations, but I think it's important that everybody knows that just because we've been on our spiritual path some years now, doesn't mean that we're near the end and we've nearly finished.
No. Every day is a school day on Planet Earth.
Every day is a school day, and I can tell you the technicalities of this podcast.
You're doing very well. If this goes anywhere beyond this living room, we'll be very proud, won't we?
Well, let's hope it does. Well, I think we've got many more podcasts lined up. I think we'll have to book you in again, Madam.
Brilliant. Yeah, exciting.
But thank you so much for joining me.
You're very welcome,
I really
Liz.
enjoyed our chat today.
Oh, it's always great to spend time with you.
So that's all from us today. I'll put details of Allanah in the show notes below. And until next time, take care and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.